Do not confuse this with treatment or mental health advice or direction. Nothing on this podcast is made to supplement or supersede the relationship and direction of your mental health caretakers. Although David Kozlowski is a licensed marriage and family therapist, he is not functioning as a certified mental health professional in this environment. And same applies to any professional who may appear on the Light the Fight podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Light the Fight. I'm your host, David, and as always, we are brought to you by 1-800-CONTACTS and Lingo Eyewear. If you want great prescription glasses or great prescription sunglasses, but don't want to take the hassle to looking all around online or going into a shop and getting them custom fitted for you, you can do all of that on their website. Go to www.liingoeyewear.com and use promo code Light the Fight for $30 off your very first order. So for today's episode, I'm going to be answering some questions from a recent event we had with Pleasant Grove City. And we did an event for the parents out there that was put on by PG Cares. Thank you to Tamara and all the beautiful people out there that put on the event. And man, this was different than most events. They had a lot of free giveaways, and I won't get into all that too much, but I had a lot of fun and a lot of people that came out there, got some great information, learned about some great resources, and won great things like AirPods. There's a couple things on there. Oh, taco sets, like where you can put your tortillas, your guacamole, and all that stuff like that. I won one of those, so I was kind of excited about that. But anyways, I just want to thank the people out there at PG Cares for putting on the event and all the great sponsors that did it, because it was really fun, and it was good for me to get back out there and talk to some communities. As most of you guys know, I do podcasting, I do therapy, I teach high school, and when requested and asked, I go out and speak to the community as well. So it was a fun event. And from the event, I was able to get some questions that I was unable to answer during the event. So as promised to all of the people that attended the event, I would answer your questions here on today's podcast. But I'm going to spread it over the next few weeks because I got another event coming up with Olympus High School this week, and I'll be getting more questions there. So for the next month, I will be taking some time to answer some of these questions, and I'll be having a friend of mine going to come on the episode as well, a real-life father, not just an average father, in my opinion, a very good father. He's a father that I've worked with his family. He's been kind enough to say, hey, Dave, can I come on there and talk about my experience working with you and also help out parents? And I said, absolutely. He's not an average person in his ability to articulate information. In fact, he's a sought-after keynote speaker and entertainer. And so I look forward to having him on the episode, and he'll be answering some of these questions for me in the future. So the questions I don't get answered today, I'll be answering it with my good friend, and I'll announce who he is when he comes on the podcast. But for now, it'll just be a mystery. So for now, I want to take some of these questions. And like I said, I'm not going to get to all of them. So all you people that came to the event that wanted your questions answered, if you don't get your question answered this time, you'll just have to tune in next week and in future weeks, and we'll eventually get to all the questions. So let me see. What question do I want to start off with? How about, okay, this is a good one. How can a parent tell when their child's social media use has become unhealthy? This is actually quite easy. In diagnosing someone with issues with addiction. Now, I'm going to use the addiction analogy just to help you guys understand, because if you guys didn't realize this, technology can be addictive, especially social media technology. But not everyone that uses social media is going to become addicted, and not everyone that has some issues, or let's say you're a parent and you're worried about your kids' social media use, doesn't always mean that your kid's addicted. It means, well, it could mean that they have some dependency and they have some issues that don't fall under the addiction category, but I'm going to help you understand it in a very simple way. With addiction, if it's drug and alcohol addiction or social media and addiction like that, how we look at it is pretty much the same way. If you have a teen, let's say for example, that their grades are failing, the relationship with you and them has taken a big hit. It's causing lots of problems in the family. And the one common factor is that there's big fights over social media. Now, if you're being honest with yourself, parents, and you have been reasonable, you've been understanding, and you have not been, too much of a Nazi about social media, because some parents can be a little too intense about the way they approach social media with their kids. So if that's not the case, and you've been trying to be, a parent that's understanding and try to work with them, but they still I mean, they're falling apart in a lot of different categories in their life, and you believe the direct correlation is because of social media usage and their addiction, and their amount of using it is becoming so excessive. When you look at their phone, it's hours upon hours. It's at the center of a lot of drama between family and of course yourself being their parents. Then that could qualify as addiction if it was to go on for a very lengthy amount of time. Also, mental health disorders. So if you see an increase in depression or anxiety, those types of things, then that would fall more under the label of addiction. Now, dependency is just a step down from that. It's a decline in many or some of those areas, but it hasn't ruined relationships. It hasn't caused them to fail all their classes. It hasn't caused the extreme effect in their day-to-day functioning in life as we would say if someone was addicted to. So it's definitely a step down from it. So the addiction is very intense. It's affecting lots of relationships. Maybe they even lost a job because they're on their phone on social media too much. Maybe they've had serious issues with friends and, in that realm. And those issues are pertaining to the fights on social media, and they're insistent on being on social media all the time. In that case, mental health goes down, all those issues, that's addiction. Lighter version of that is a dependency. So that's how you know if your kid is having serious issues with social media. And I'll put in a little plug, I believe on November 10th. Yes, November 10th. If my memory serves me correct, but I don't trust my memory, so you might want to check this out. If you haven't heard about it, locally there'll be an event called I Am Mom Summit. This year they're focusing on the digital, technical space and world, the dangers that can come from that, some plans, some things that you can do to help your kids and also to help yourself have a lot of competency and understanding how to navigate those waters. And on November 10th, if you can make it physically, I think they may still have some tickets available. I'm not sure about that. They could be sold out already, but if you can make it physically. I will be there. If my wife's schedule will allow it, she'll be there. And if not, online. I know there'll be thousands of people logging onto the event online to hear many of their amazing speakers and their keynote speaker talk about various different ways that you can improve your family relationships, help your kids not become addicted or even dependent to social media, and also how to navigate it so that you have a lot of prevention, so that you're establishing, social media and internet technology plan way ahead of time. And I'm looking forward to the event. I'm excited because I truly believe that the people who are putting it on from the best of places. This is not like a money grab. It's not something that they're doing just to get some clicks online. I've talked to them, and I believe their hearts are in the right places. And I also believe that the people that they have as speakers for this year's event and presenters have a very high knowledge about this subject in different avenues, of course, because not everybody's going to speak on the same subject about tech addiction and what to do about it. But I truly can give a heartfelt validation, and I can co-sign for what they're doing. So please go check it out. Like I said, if you can't be there in person, go and attend online. And I believe it's also going to be available for a little while in case the timing of the event is not available for you to log in online. I'm pretty sure you can watch it for at least a couple weeks after the event. So check it out, I Am Mom Summit. Now, the next question. Let me take one more, or at least one more. Increased depression, anxiety, youth. I'll save that one for last. Okay. How do we get parents and youth interested in learning social growth before there is a stage 3 to 4 problem? In your personal experience, what gets youth excited to join the social fight? Let me explain real quickly. You may not have heard me talk about this on the podcast, and if you're new to the podcast, or if you have never heard me speak live, you wouldn't have known that a long time ago I created what I call the 4 stages of youth mental health. In very short, stage 0, that's a stage where everybody wants to be at. Stage 1, parents, start to see a little bit of change in the students or in their child's behavior. They start to see a little slack in their willingness to do their normal responsibilities, chores, homework, and those things. And you start to see some decline in that. Attitude and stuff like that starts to dip a little bit. Stage 2, it becomes more noticeable. In fact, there starts to be more arguments and fighting. Maybe your kid can't go to school every now and then because they're having problems with anxiety, depression, things of that nature. Stage 3 is when it becomes noticeable by teachers, coaches, parents. The grades really drop, really fall. That's when they start to show obvious signs of mental health or, an emotional issue, specifically diagnosable issues. And those are the times when you're going to need, without a doubt, to get this some treatment, some help, therapy, so on and so forth. And like I said, everybody's noticing it. It's not a secret. And it's becoming to the point where it's been consistent for a while. Stage 2 is more like kind of intermittent. It's like happens every now and then. It's not like a consistent thing. Stage 3 is it's becoming pretty consistent, which means it's diagnosable. In mental health, we can't diagnose like things like major depression until it's been a significant amount of time, like at least 6 months. But in stage 3, it's definitely showing that there's some diagnosable things. Stage 2, it's more of episodes. Now, stage 4, in stage 3, it could be suicidal thoughts, ideations, maybe some self-harm, abuse of drugs or alcohol, and even aggressive behavior. I think it goes without saying that people are well aware of that there's some mental health issues that can get so severe that kids can become violent. And then stage 4, this is where the typical traditional counseling and therapy, the support